I was looking at some figures before I came on, and I think your listeners, your viewers might be interested in this. In the United States of America, 754,000 people have died from COVID. 46 million people have had it. And the population, to give you an alternative, is 329 million in the United States. And in the UK, it's 61 million and 140,000 people have died. So the pro rata is about the same. And obviously, the way that Joe Biden's administration has handled it has been completely different from President Trump. And I think it is fair to say that, to use a horse racing expression, it's coming back on the bridle, which is really good news. And so people can now go to the United States, provided they've been jabbed up. They're not the only country, the UK is not the only country to benefit. We've got Brazil, China, Ireland, South Africa, and Schengen countries as well. They're also added to the list. But I think this is going to be a huge stimulation for business, industry, and commerce, because as we've discussed before, Zoom's great, but when you want to get business done, there's nothing like seeing the whites of the eyes of somebody that you want to do a trade or a deal with. So I think this is terrific. And I also think on a social basis, for people to be able to go and see their loved ones, which they haven't been able to see for 2 years. I know of several people, as I'm sure you guys do as well. So all in all, I think it's fantastic news. And I imagine that everybody's going to be skipping up that gangway and turning right or left, depending on their wealth, in order to be able to get to the United States and back. Terrific news.
Never seen anyone skipping up a gangway. But anyway.
I have.
Yeah, well, they all turn left with you. I know that.
I wish.
Now, let's talk about the BBC. They've been told to be careful with their spending. They face a license fee freeze. They're up against global giants. And is this just going to diminish them further?
Well, Simon, you above all people, and I'm sure Rosie would categorize you the same, is that I'm told that something like 2.4 types of equipment are watched in everybody's drawing room after supper. So it just goes to show you that traditional television watching is diminishing all the time. And you have to take great respect for Netflix, Amazon, and all the other streaming opportunities, Walt Disney, and there'll be more to come as we go by. And so the fact that the taxpayer has got I think it's a 3.7 billion bill for the BBC every year. Now, nobody's saying that the content from a lot of it isn't absolutely terrific, but there's no way that under Nadine Dorries, who's now responsible as the culture minister, that she's going to increase that budget. In fact, I think she's likely to decrease it. And, the idea that 5% inflation this year is going to give the BBC that much more money, no. So I'm afraid they're going to have to make cuts in order to cut their coat according to their cloth. And the cloth might have a few holes in it. And I mean, that's just the way of the world these days, because, these enormous bills, when the competition is so fierce out there, you can't really ask the taxpayer, in my humble opinion, for an enormous sum of money of that nature to increase it by whatever the rate of inflation is every year. So I think, now that the situation is that this license is going to be agreed for the sake of everybody, and whatever anybody's views on the BBC are on whatever it is politically, the fact remains is, if the BBC were to come out of license, it would have a damaging effect on the whole of the media fact, because the brand is a very strong brand, and it would attract advertising revenue, which would take it from all the other radio companies and television companies. And frankly, it would be a very bad thing, because I think everybody would have to skin down. So, like it or not, I think at a lower level, I hope that a license fee is agreed, but there's no question of any increase.
It's interesting, you haven't mentioned subscription, and you look at what you get for the license fee, and you look at what you pay a month to, say, subscription services like Sky, and you get an awful lot for it. And the BBC doesn't seem to be shouting out about that very much. And if it had a subscription model, wouldn't that solve its issues?
I think that's part of the complete transformation. And I hope that Tim Davie and others really realize that streaming now is probably the most important part of any broadcaster, because choice is at your fingertips, and it's on all kinds of, whether it's your mobile or whether it's an iPad or your computer, and it's going to get even more sophisticated as time goes by. So as you so rightly say, Simon, I think this has got to be developed PDQ by the BBC and shouted from the rooftops, because competition is absolutely fierce out there. And, they're all into production now. It's not just a question of ringing up Paramount or Universal Studios saying, can I have this, or HBO saying, can I probably put this on my thing? They're doing it themselves. And this is the way forward.
Can we talk about Tesla? Over the weekend, Elon Musk has been tweeting, asking his followers to vote on some fairly hefty financial decisions. Can you just explain what's happened?
Well, he owns a huge percentage of Tesla. Tesla is now valued, I think the share price is $1,222, which values the company at $1 trillion, which, when you consider where it was 2 years ago, is just staggering. Now, Elon Musk owns about $200 billion worth of this stock. He's not paid a salary, but I'm not going to get my handkerchief out and dab my eyes, because with that kind of wealth, he can borrow whatever he likes. Anyway, it has been decided that he put the decision-making process of him realizing some of his income to pay tax in the hands of Twitter, of his 62 million followers. And up to about, I think, 4 hours ago, Rosie, 57% said, step up to the plate, sell 10% of your wealth, and realize about $21 billion, and let the US tax authorities have that. And providing once the voting is finished, the majority says that I'm told is exactly what he'll do.
Right, before we let you go, Marks and Spencer, they're not just any pronoun badges, they're M&S pronoun badges. This is to ensure that people have their correct pronouns, he, she, they, and aren't misgendered. I'm just wondering if you've got any thoughts about that.
Gender inclusivity drive, I think, is what the HR department of Marks and Spencer's described it. I think it's a very controversial thing. I think it's taking political correctness to its zenith, for want of a better expression. But the LGBT force is a very, very strong force now in society. And they are making a very strong imprint wherever they go. And I'm afraid this is just one of many illustrations that are going to take place. As you, Simon and Rosie, I'm sure you saw at the end of last week, I think it was on Thursday, asking some primary school for the blokes to please step up and wear skirts to work, to school if they want to. And I think this is just the way, whether people like it, approve of it, disapprove of it, it's the way of the world. And I'm afraid woke is a big, big religion now, for want of a better expression. And I think Marks and Spencer have just joined the club.
Nothing more to add to that, really, is there?
Not really, sorry.
No, that's all right. Is there anything cheerful we can chat about?
Well, we're in the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup. Don't be late, 6 o'clock on Wednesday. I think we're playing New Zealand, and I look forward to that. And I don't know, I just think, I feel good about life, actually. I mean, the newspapers make terrible reading, but what a joy it is to speak to nice people like you. We don't have to...
Lovely. Just by the by, we were talking to Chris Curtis a moment ago from an opinion poll. He said people aren't interested in what's going on in Parliament today, and I took issue. I think a lot of people are quite angry with what's going on at the moment.
I'm incandescent with rage. I think democracy's, someone's opened the window and thrown it out. And I think the government needs to shape up and have a good look at itself, because I think what we've seen during the course of the last really 6 months, where it appears that 10 Downing Street makes all the decisions and that Parliament has very little input or say, is utterly disgraceful. And I don't care what anybody's political hue or party they belong to, you cannot possibly support that. It's wrong.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.